Hi boys and girls, welcome to Everyday Math Lesson 1.10, Counting Patterns. The materials that you'll need today are just going to be your pencil, your math journal, and your calculator. We will not do any whiteboard work today. Let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is go over our math boxes from the previous lesson. So if you can look at page 13. If you're noticing that you have any mistakes, please fix those with your pencil and eraser. So for question number 1, we needed to figure out how much money. Now I know a dime is worth 10 cents, so I'm counting by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 60 cents. For question number 2, fill in the missing numbers. So if I'm at 2 and I think 10 more than 2 would get me to 12. Then they give me 13. 10 more than 13 would get me to 23. 1 more than 13 would be 14. They give me 15. And then 10 more than 15 would get me to 25. For question number 3, I need to show 23 tally marks. So I show that by having 4 groups of 5. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20, and then 3 ones. 21, 22, 23. For question number 4, what time is it? So on the clock, I should see that my hour hand is on the 1, my minute hand is on the 12, showing the time of 1 o'clock. Then it asks, how much time will it be in a half hour? So 30 more minutes. So it's 1 o'clock, and maybe I want to count by fives. So I'm at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. In 30 minutes, my minute hand is going to be on the 6. Well, what time is it when my hour hand is in between the 1 and the 2 and my minute hand is on the 6? You should have said 1:30. For question number 5, solve. So if I'm at 6, I want to know how much more to get to 8. I should have added 2. 2 plus 6 equals 8. For question number 6, I can see that I was counting by fives. My rule is plus 5. If I'm at 5, then I get to 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So one more time, please double check, make sure that you have your page correct. And if you have any questions, you can ask your classroom teacher. We're going to keep our math journal open today, and we're going to take a look at page 14. Could you also grab a calculator if you have one available for today's lesson? So second graders, what we're going to do on page 14 is we're going to count by sevens on our calculator. Then we're going to write the answers or write the numbers that we get in each of those. So I'm going to walk through that first one with you today. So for counting by sevens, I'm going to pull up my calculator. And so what I would do is I would type in 7 plus 7 equals. And then I'm going to continue hitting equals, and each time I'm going to plug in my number on the line. So I'm going to show you one more time. So since my first one was 14, I wrote down 14. Then watch again, I'm going to hit equals, and then I have 21. Equals 28. Equals 35. Equals 42. Equals 49. Notice how the number that's added each time I press equals is 7. Okay? So going back now, could you take a look at number 2 and 3, counting by sixes, and then also counting by fours? Press pause and then play when you're ready to talk about numbers 2 and 3. All right, second graders, so when I'm counting by sixes, again, I'm going to pull up my calculator. I need to hit clear. So this time I'm going to type in a 6 plus 6, and I'm going to click equals. So 12 is going to be the first number that I'm going to write on that line. So I'll pull mine up. Then if I hit equals again, I would get 18. If I keep going, I have 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, and 60. So notice how each time I'm clicking equals, I'm adding by 6. Then it asked, what pattern do you see in the ones digit? What pattern are you seeing? Looking at these numbers, I see I have a 6, 2, 8, 4, 0. 6, 2, 8, 4, 0. The pattern that I'm seeing is 6, 2, 8, 4, 0. And that would just keep repeating even if I kept increasing and kept on with my counting by sixes. Now there's one more thing that I want you to do with this problem. Can you circle the ones digit in each number? Just like how I have. Can you circle the 2? And you could actually circle the 6 as well if you did. But circle the 2, 8, 4, 0, 6, 2, 8, 4, 0. Let's try another problem. Let's look at number 3. So for number 3, can you count on by fours? I'm going to pull up my calculator. So if I had 4 plus 4 equals, you can see I am going to keep counting with my 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. So each time I was pressing equals, I was counting by 4. Just like we did in question number 2, can you circle the digits? Can you circle the ones digits in each of those numbers? And I'll show you what that looks like again in number 2. So notice how I circle my 8, 2, 6, 0, 4, 8, 2, 6, 0. And I maybe could also circle that 4. If you did that first, that would be a good idea. Because then it's going to ask you again, what pattern do you notice? What pattern are you seeing? And just like what we saw in number 2, noticing how our ones digit numbers are repeating. So I have my 4, 8, 2, 6, 0. 4, 8, 2, 6, 0. And even if I continued on with my count, I would still have that same pattern in my ones digit. For the try this, Jim counted on the calculator and he wrote these numbers. He said 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. And we want to know, what keys did he press? What do you think he pressed in order to be able to get there? Press pause and then play when you're ready to hear the answer. So second graders, if I'm going to test this out with my calculator, if he first had the number 3 and then Jim pressed +2 and kept hitting equals, he would get his 5, 7, 9, and 11. All right. If you want to practice more with counting on your calculator, you could pick other numbers to count by. And again, what we were doing each time, if I was going to count by 5s, I would click 5 plus 5 equals, and I just keep clicking equals, and I can watch my calculator as it skip counting. Kind of a fun trick. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about today is page 15, and this is another broken calculator page. We talked about a broken calculator page in yesterday's lesson too. So what you're going to do is you're going to show the number 8. You can either add or subtract. You can add 2 numbers. You could add 3 numbers together. But you're not going to use the number 8. You're going to pretend like the 8 is broken. So I could show you just my first example, just to kind of refresh your memory. So what I did for that first one is I showed 8 by doing 2 plus 6, by doing 9 minus 1, and 4 plus 4. And notice how in all of these problems I did not use a number 8. So boys and girls, could you try showing 30, but your broken key is a 3? Showing 15 without using a 5? Showing 26 without using a 6? Now for questions 5 and 6, you can make up your own. If you want to use the same ones that I did, I chose to use a number 12 with my broken key as a 2 and a 17 with my broken key as a 7. So I'd like you to solve and then press play when you're ready to hear my answers. Press pause now. Okay, second graders, so to show 30 in 3 different ways, I did 20 plus 10, 15 plus 5, and 40 minus 10. And there's lots of different ways you could have gotten to 30. So you probably didn't have the same ways that I did, and that's okay. To show 15, I have 11 plus 4, 16 minus 1, and 7 plus 7 plus 1. To show 26, I have 11 plus 11, which I know is 22. And then 22 plus 4 more would get me to 26. I have 30, and if I count back by 4, I know 30 minus 4 equals 26. I know that 20 plus 5 is 25, plus 1 more would get me to 26. For question 5, you are making up your own, so I chose to do 9 plus 3, 6 plus 6, and 7 plus 4. And for number 6, I was also making up my own, and I chose to do 8 plus 9, 11 plus 6, and 20 minus 3. If you have any questions on this page, you can ask your classroom teacher. The last thing that we'll talk about today are our math boxes. So let's first quickly talk about the directions. When you're all done, I'd like you to take a picture and add that picture to Seesaw for your classroom teacher, and we will go over this page in our next video. So fill in the missing numbers for number 1. Again, for that first one, you're going to have to think about what number would come before 68. For question number 2, write these numbers in order. Start with the smallest. So whichever of these numbers is the smallest, write that first, then your middle, and then your largest. For question number 3, show 2 ways to make 35 cents. Notice how I made a line separating my page, so I can do one way to make 35 cents up top, and then a second way to make 35 cents below. For question number 4, write even or odd to tell about each of these 4 numbers. For question number 5, fill in the missing frames. So if we're at 50, 60, and we keep adding 10, think about what's going to be in those next circles. And then for question number 6, solve these 6 problems. For the unit, you can choose whatever you would like for your unit today. All right, thank you. We will see you next time.